The people who used to be my safe place are the same ones who hurt me, and the friends I have left keep telling me to just move on. I can't. Not yet. I think I need to get it all out once, in order, so maybe I can finally breathe again. This is going to be long. I'm sorry. She gave everything, and they still broke her heart. That she is my mom, and the they is my dad, my sister, and me. I'm 31 now. This all ended about 8 months ago, but it started unraveling years before that. My mom's name was Clara. Everyone called her Claire Bear when she was little because she was soft and round and always humming. She grew up in a tiny town in northern Michigan, one of those places where winter lasts 6 months and everybody knows which cupboard in your kitchen has the good cookies. Her own mom died when she was 9, and her dad was a long-haul trucker who was gone more than he was home, so she basically raised herself and her younger brother on boxed mac and cheese and library books. She used to tell me that the library was her church. She'd ride her bike there every Saturday, even in snow, just to sit in the warm radiators and read until closing. She met my dad, Mike, when she was 19. He was 24, fresh out of the army, loud and charming, and the kind of guy who could fix anything with duct tape and swear words. They got married 6 months later because when you know, you know. That's what she always said. They bought a little fixer-upper on the lake outside Traverse City with a mortgage that scared them both, and she turned it into the warmest home I've ever known. She painted the kitchen sunflower yellow herself, even while pregnant with me, standing on a step stool with paint in her hair, singing old Carole King songs off-key. My sister Emily came 3 years after me. Mom quit her job at the dental office to stay home with us. Money was tight, but Mom never let us feel poor. She could stretch a pound of ground beef into 3 meals and still make it taste like love. Fridays were library and pizza night. She'd load us into the minivan with the cracked dashboard, let us each pick 3 books. Then we'd come home and make English muffin pizzas while she read us the first chapter of whatever we chose. I still remember the way she smelled, Suave coconut shampoo, and the lavender lotion she bought at the dollar store because it reminded her of her grandma's garden. Dad worked construction. Some winters there was no work, and he'd drink. Not every day, but enough that we learned to read the sound of his boots on the porch. When they were slow and heavy, we'd scatter to our rooms. Mom never scattered. She'd meet him at the door with a hug and a kiss on the cheek, and somehow, by the time he sat down at the table, he was just tired dad again, not angry dad. I never understood how she did that. She'd rub his shoulders while he stared at the bills, whispering, "We're okay, baby. We've got each other." And he'd nod and cry sometimes, and she'd hold him until he slept it off on the couch with the TV flickering. Emily and I weren't easy kids. Em was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 7, endless finger pricks, carb counting, middle-of-the-night blood sugar checks. Mom became a human calculator. She kept a little notebook in her purse with every single thing Em ate for years. I was the gifted one who got migraines so bad I'd throw up, who cried when the cafeteria was too loud, who couldn't fall asleep without the hallway light on until I was embarrassingly old. Mom sat outside my door every night reading under her breath until I passed out. She never complained, not once. When I was 15, Dad lost his job after a site accident. No workman's comp because the contractor was shady. We were 2 months from losing the house. Mom took 3 jobs, overnight stocking at Meijer, weekends cleaning offices, and days substitute teaching. She'd come home at 7 a.m., sleep 3 hours, then wake up smiling to drive us to school. I found her asleep on the bathroom floor once, still in her Meijer vest, because she didn't want to wake us by going to bed. I cried so hard I threw up. She just hugged me and said, "I'm okay, baby. Moms don't get tired the same way." But she did. College was my escape. I got scholarships, moved 4 hours away to Michigan State. Emily followed 2 years later. We came home for holidays and summers, but it wasn't the same. Mom kept the house spotless, kept cooking our favorite meals. kept asking about our classes and our friends like nothing had changed. Dad had steady work again by then, but the drinking never fully stopped. He was quieter about it. Mom pretended not to notice the whiskey bottles in the garage. In 2018, I met Sam. We got married in 2021. In the backyard, Mom spent a whole year planning. She made 200 fabric flowers by hand because real peonies were out of budget. She lost 15 pounds that year from stress and forgot to eat, but she smiled in every photo. Emily's maid of honor speech was about how Mom was the glue that held the universe together. We all cried. Mom just waved it off. I'm just happy my girls are happy. Then the pandemic hit. Dad got laid off again. Emily moved back home after her lease ended because she couldn't find work. I was pregnant with my son and stuck in Grand Rapids with a husband who was suddenly working 80-hour weeks from home. Mom became everyone's lifeline. She homeschooled Emily's online classes when Em's mental health tanked. She drove 2 hours each way to bring us groceries when Sam and I both got COVID and couldn't leave the house. She learned how to use Zoom to read bedtime stories to my newborn through a screen because we weren't allowed visitors. She was 58 years old and still working 2 jobs because Dad's unemployment ran out. In 2022, the doctors found the mass in her pancreas. Stage 4, inoperable. She told us on a Tuesday. I remember because it was trash day and the bins were still at the end of the driveway when I pulled in. She was sitting at the kitchen table, the same table where she used to help me with algebra, where she taught Emily how to test her blood sugar, where she held Dad's head when he cried about money. She had a cup of chamomile tea gone cold, and that soft smile she always used when she was about to lie to protect us. It's okay, she said. I've had a good run. We moved her in with Sam and me because our house had a first-floor bedroom, and Dad couldn't handle it. He started drinking in the morning. Emily was spiraling, skipping her insulin because, what's the point? Mom spent her chemo days coordinating rides for Dad to AA that he never went to, texting Emily reminders to eat, FaceTiming me to ask if the baby had enough onesies. She lost her hair and wore these ridiculous turbans she ordered off Etsy because they make me feel like a fortune teller. She still cooked. She still asked about our days first. By spring 2023, she was down to 89 pounds. Hospice came. We brought her home to the lake house because that's what she wanted, to hear the water and smell the pine. We set the hospital bed up in the living room facing the big window. She made us promise no heroic measures. I've done my job, she said. You're all grown. You're good people. Let me go when it's time. The last month was indescribable. Dad slept in the recliner drunk half the time. Emily locked herself in her childhood bedroom and screamed if anyone tried to talk to her. I was there every day, pumping breast milk in the bathroom because my son was still nursing, and I couldn't leave him for long. Mom kept apologizing for being a burden, for not being stronger, for the medical bills, for everything. One night, she asked me to help her to the bathroom. She weighed less than my 8-year-old. In the mirror, she looked 1,000 years old. She touched my face and whispered, I'm proud of you, Hannah Bear. Don't let them tell you any different. Then she made me promise to take care of your dad and Em. I swore I would. She died on a Thursday morning in June. The sun was coming up over the lake, pink and gold. Dad was passed out on the porch. Emily was asleep with headphones on. It was just me and her. She squeezed my hand once, so lightly, took this tiny breath, and then, quiet. I sat there until the nurse came at noon. I didn't cry. I couldn't. It felt like someone had scooped my insides out with a melon baller. The funeral was small. Dad didn't speak. Emily read a poem she'd written in 10th grade that Mom used to keep on the fridge. I couldn't say anything. People kept telling me how strong Mom was, how selfless, how she lived for her family. I wanted to scream, because here's the part that's killing me 8 months later. After the funeral, we found out she'd been hiding how bad the money situation was for years. She'd taken out a second mortgage to help Emily with insulin when her insurance lapsed. She'd been paying Dad's credit card debt so the house wouldn't go into foreclosure. She'd emptied her own tiny 401k to help me with fertility treatments before I got pregnant. She never told any of us. She just handled it, quietly, alone, and we let her. Dad went on a 3-week bender and totaled his truck. Emily moved in with a boyfriend who treats her like garbage because at least he notices I'm alive. I tried to keep everyone together like she asked, but I'm drowning. My marriage is hanging by a thread. I cry in the shower so my son doesn't see. I haven't been back to the lake house since July because I can't walk into that kitchen without falling apart. Mom gave everything, every single ounce of herself. She absorbed all our pain, all our mistakes, all our needs, until there was nothing left for her. And in the end, we weren't even there to hold her hand together. We left her to die alone with the sunrise because we were all too broken to show up for the one person who never stopped showing up for us. I keep thinking about that night she fell asleep on the bathroom floor in her Meyer vest. How I cried because I was scared for her, and she just hugged me and said, "Moms don't get tired the same way." She was wrong. Moms get tired. Moms get crushed. Moms die carrying everyone else's weight because no one ever thought to ask if they needed carrying too. I miss her so much it feels like a physical injury. Some nights I drive to the 24-hour Meyer and just walk the aisles because it smells like her, like freezer burn and lemon cleaner and coconut shampoo. I stand in the cereal aisle and lose it because I can't remember which kind she used to buy when we were little. I don't know how to forgive myself, or them, or her, for never letting us save her. No, there's more. I didn't think I'd come back to this throwaway, but I can't sleep, and the house is too quiet, and the words keep clawing their way out. I'm sorry if you were hoping for a neat little "and then I healed" update. That's not what this is. After I posted that, I did go up to the lake house like I said I would. It was the first week of December, the kind of cold that gets inside your bones and stays there. The driveway was half a foot of snow. No one had plowed since October. I let myself in with the key under the fake rock that's been there since I was 7. The air inside hit me like a slap, stale, cold, and still somehow smelling like her, like lemon pledge, and the wood smoke from the stove she insisted on using even when the furnace worked fine. Everything was exactly where she left it. Her reading glasses on the side table next to a half-finished crossword dated June 12th, the day before she couldn't hold a pencil anymore. A grocery list on the fridge in her looping handwriting: milk, eggs, peanut butter, Dad's oatmeal, M's juice. Like she was still planning to come back from the hospital and make pancakes on Sunday. I lost 3 hours just sitting on the kitchen floor crying into one of her old cardigans I found in the laundry basket. It still smelled like her. I'm wearing it now as I type this. It's threadbare at the elbows and too small across my shoulders, but I can't take it off. The real gut punch came when I started going through her bedroom dresser to box things up for Goodwill. Behind her folded nightgowns, wrapped in one of those plastic Meyer bags, was a stack of notebooks. 8 of them. All the same kind she used for Emily's carb counts when we were kids. The covers were worn soft, the pages filled top to bottom in her tiny, neat handwriting. They were letters, one for every birthday and Christmas, and Mother's Day she knew she probably wouldn't live to see. There's one addressed to me for my 35th birthday in 2029, one for when my son starts kindergarten, one for Emily's wedding, even though Em swears she'll never get married now, one for Dad, in case you ever decide to get sober and need to know I forgave you a long time ago. One for the day the lake house sells, telling whoever lives here next to take care of the lilac bush by the dock because it was her mother's favorite. I've only been able to read 3 of them. I have to ration them because every page rips something new open. In the one for my 32nd birthday, this coming March, she wrote, "Hannah Bear, if you're reading this, I'm not there to make you the terrible chocolate cake with the canned frosting you pretend to hate. I hope you're laughing today anyway. I hope you've stopped blaming yourself. You didn't kill me, baby. Cancer did, and living did, and loving the 3 of you with everything I had did. That's not a complaint. That's the best thing I ever did with my life. Please stop trying to fix your dad and Emily by breaking yourself in half. They have to want fixing. You can only keep the door open. I'm proud of the woman you are. I was proud the day you were born with that red, angry face, and I'm proud now. Eat some cake for me, the terrible kind. Love, Mom. There was a second envelope taped inside the back cover of that notebook. My name on the front in her shaky last month handwriting. Inside was every single Mother's Day and birthday card I'd ever given her, starting with the one I made in kindergarten that says, "Happy Mother's Day. I love you bigger than the moon." She kept them all, even the one from 2017 when I was so mad at her for lending Emily my down payment savings that I only sent a store-bought card with no message. She kept it anyway. I called my sister after I found them, first time we'd spoken in 2 months. She came up the next day. We sat on Mom's bed and read our letters out loud and cried until we were dehydrated. Emily admitted she'd been stealing Mom's leftover pain meds. I admitted I'd been having panic attacks in the grocery store parking lot. We were awful to each other for about 20 minutes, and then we weren't. We're trying now. Therapy, twice a month together. It's ugly and slow and costs too much, but we're trying. Dad won't come to the house. He says it's too hard. He's living in a 1-bedroom above the VFW and calls drunk at 2 a.m. sometimes to tell me he's sorry. I stopped answering after the third time he asked if I found his bottle of wild turkey in the garage. I did. I poured it into the lake while I screamed every swear word I know. I kept the house. Sam and I are separating the finances so I can afford the mortgage alone if I have to. I'm moving up here in the spring with my son. I'm going to paint the kitchen sunflower yellow again. I'm going to plant lilacs. I'm going to learn how to make the terrible chocolate cake with the canned frosting and eat it on March 15th every year until I'm old and gray. There's still no happy ending. Some days I still can't get out of bed. Some nights I sit in the dark and talk to her like she's on the couch next to me. But the weight is different now. Less like drowning, more like carrying something precious that I'm finally allowed to feel the full weight of. She gave everything. I'm trying to give some of it back by living the rest of my life in a way that would make her close her eyes and smile that soft, tired smile. I don't know if I'll ever stop posting updates on this throwaway. Maybe this is how I keep her with me. Maybe this is how I keep myself honest. If you've read this far, again, thank you. Your kindness is the only thing that's felt gentle in a very long time. I love you, Mom. I'm trying to be the kind of woman you'd be proud of. I hope wherever you are, you're finally resting. Hannah Bear, 32 in 103 days. I thought it was. I really did. But last week something happened that cracked me open again, and I don't know where else to put it. I turned 32 in March, the first birthday without her. I woke up at 4:17 a.m. exactly, the time stamped on my birth certificate, and the silence was so loud I had to put a pillow over my face so my son wouldn't hear me scream into it. Sam is gone now. He moved out in February. It's just me and the kid in our little apartment that still has unpacked boxes from when we thought we were only staying temporarily. I made the terrible chocolate cake the night before. I ate one bite and threw the rest in the dumpster behind the building because the canned frosting tasted like grief and metal. Emily texted, "Happy birthday, hon. Love you," at 11:42 p.m. the night before. That's the most she's said to me in weeks. She's living with that boyfriend in Florida now. He doesn't let her use her phone much. I hate him so much it scares me. At 3 p.m. on my birthday, a package arrived. No return address. Just my name in handwriting I didn't recognize. Inside was a single cassette tape and a small envelope. The tape was a Maxell XL2 90-minute, the kind Mom used to record mixed tapes for road trips when we were kids. Someone had written on the paper insert in purple marker, "For Hannah Bear, 32. I don't own anything that plays cassettes anymore. I sat on the kitchen floor and cried for an hour, then drove to 3 different Goodwills until I found a dusty Walkman in a bin of old electronics for $6. I bought batteries with shaking hands. I waited until my son was asleep. I put on headphones that smelled like someone else's attic. I pressed play. It was her voice. The first thing I heard was the soft click of the recorder, and then Mom clearing her throat the way she did when she was nervous. Then, "Hi, baby. If you're listening to this, it means I finally figured out how to work the damn recorder your cousin gave me for Christmas 2021. Happy 32nd birthday, Hannah Bear." She sounded healthy. This was recorded before the cancer voice, before the oxygen and the rasp. It was the voice that used to call me in from the yard when the streetlights came on. She talked for 87 minutes straight. She told me the story of the day I was born, how Dad fainted in the delivery room and the nurse had to catch him, how I came out screaming and immediately peed on the doctor. She told me about the first time I said, "I love you," unprompted, age 2.5, because I saw her crying over a phone bill and wanted to make her stop. She told me every proud moment she never said out loud because she didn't want me to get a big head. She read the letter she wrote for my 32nd birthday again, out loud this time, and cried while she did it. Then she sang, the entire B-side of Tapestry, off-key, missing half the words, laughing at herself when she messed up. The same album she used to play on scratchy vinyl while she folded laundry and danced with us in the living room. At the very end, the tape started to warble because she was crying too hard to hold the recorder steady. "I need you to know something, Hannah," she said. "I was never the strong one. You kids were. You gave me the strength. Every day I got up and kept going was because I wanted to be the kind of mom you deserved. If I gave everything, it's because you gave me everything first. Don't spend your life paying a debt that was never yours. Live it. Waste money on flowers. Stay up too late laughing. Kiss your baby's head when he's asleep and he'll never remember it, but it matters anyway. That's what love is. It's not carrying everyone. It's letting them carry you sometimes, too." Click. End of tape. There was a note in the envelope. It was from Aunt Linda, Mom's best friend from high school who moved to Oregon 20 years ago, and we barely kept in touch with. It said, "Your mom made me swear I'd wait until this birthday." She recorded it in March 2022, right after the diagnosis, when she still had energy. She said 32 was the age she finally felt like a real adult, and she wanted you to hear her voice when you got there too. She made tapes for Emily's 30th and your dad's 70th too. I have them. I'll send them when it's time. She loved you bigger than the moon, kid. I'm so sorry. Linda. I listened to the tape 17 times in a row. I fell asleep with the headphones on and woke up at 3 a.m. with the batteries dead and the foam pad soaked through with tears and snot. I called Aunt Linda the next day. She told me Mom drove to Oregon by herself in February 2022, told Dad she was visiting a cousin, and spent 4 days recording those tapes in Linda's basement because our house was never quiet enough. She paid Linda $500 cash to keep them secret and mail them on the exact dates. She planned it like a military operation while literally dying. I don't know how to carry this new piece. It's the most beautiful gift I've ever been given, and it hurts worse than anything else because it's proof she was thinking about a future she knew she wouldn't be in, and she still filled it with love anyway. So no, it's not all. I don't think it ever will be. There will probably be another tape on Emily's 30th, another one when my son graduates kindergarten, maybe one the day I finally scatter her ashes. I still haven't been able to do it. Maybe one for the day I forgive myself if that ever happens. She's still giving, even from the ground. I played the tape for my son tonight. He's 3.5. He doesn't understand yet, but he patted my face when I cried and said, "It's okay, Mama." Gamma's singing. Yeah, baby, she is. I don't know how to end this update because there is no end. She gave everything, and somehow, impossibly, she's still giving. I miss you, Mom. Thank you for the song. I'll keep the tape in my pocket until it wears out. Hannah Bear, 32 plus 9 days. Still trying.
It was supposed to be. Last night I scattered her ashes. I waited until the first warm Saturday in May. My son is almost 4 now, and the ice finally left the lake. I drove up alone at 5 a.m. with him still asleep in his car seat, the urn strapped in next to him like a passenger. I brought the cassette Walkman, the cardigan that doesn't fit anymore, and the last letter I hadn't opened yet. The one with no date on it, just my name and "When you're ready." I carried everything down to the dock Mom painted robin's egg blue every spring. The lilacs she loved were just starting to bloom. The air smelled like wet pine and childhood. I sat on the end of the dock with my feet in the water that was still so cold it burned. I opened the urn. Her ashes were finer than I expected, almost like flour, with little pieces of bone that caught the sunrise and glittered. I cried so hard I had to put my head between my knees so I wouldn't fall in. My son woke up then. He toddled down the dock in his dinosaur pajamas, calling, "Mama, why you sad?" and crawled into my lap without waiting for an answer. I told him we were saying goodbye to Gamma and letting her go swim with the fishies like she always wanted. He nodded solemnly and helped me tip the urn. We watched the gray cloud drift out over the water and disappear. He looked up at me with those ridiculous blue eyes he got from Sam and said, "Gamma's a mermaid now?" "Yeah, baby," I whispered. "She's a mermaid now." Then I opened the last letter. It was only 1 page this time. "Hannah Bear, if you're reading this, you finally did it. You let me go. Good girl. I knew you'd wait until it felt like love instead of losing. You always were my careful one. I lied to you once. I told you moms don't get tired the same way. I was tired, baby. Bone tired, soul tired. But I was never tired of you, not for 1 second. I need you to do one last thing for me. Stop waiting for permission to take up space. Stop apologizing for needing things. Stop measuring your worth by how little you ask of the world. You were my first miracle. Be your own second one. I love you bigger than the moon, bigger than the lake, bigger than every sunrise I'll never see. I'm not gone. I'm just quiet now. Listen for me when the wind moves the lilacs. I'm there. I always will be. Go live the rest of your life out loud. I'll be cheering so hard you'll feel it in your chest. All my love, forever and ever, Mom. P.S. Tell your boy his Gamma is definitely a mermaid, and tell him mermaids like terrible chocolate cake, too. I folded the letter, put it in the empty urn, and pushed the whole thing out into the water. It floated for a long time, longer than it should have, like the lake didn't want to take her either. Then it slipped under, slow and gentle. I didn't cry then. I laughed, out loud. The ugly, snotty kind of laugh that scares the seagulls. Because she did it. She won. She spent her whole life making herself small so the rest of us could feel big. And in the end, she still found a way to make herself enormous, big enough to fill every empty space I'll ever have again. I played the tape one last time while the sun came up all the way. Side A, her talking. Side B, Carole King and her cracking voice and the sound of her crying because she already knew this day was coming. When the tape ended, the Walkman ate it. The ribbon snapped and tangled inside like it had decided its job was done. I left it on the dock. I didn't try to fix it. I picked up my son, walked back up to the house, and started painting the kitchen sunflower yellow. So yeah, this is all. She gave everything. And somehow, in the letting go, she gave me permission to finally start taking. I'm keeping the house. I'm keeping the lilacs. I'm keeping the terrible chocolate cake tradition. And I'm keeping her. Not in the ashes, not in the urn, not even in the tape. I'm keeping her in the way I laugh too loud now. In the way I let my son eat frosting with a spoon at 9 a.m. on Saturdays. In the way I answer the phone when Emily calls, even when it's hard. In the way I finally told my dad he has to get sober or stay gone, and I didn't apologize for it. She's in the wind through the lilacs. She's in the first warm day of spring. She's in every sunrise over that stupid, perfect lake. And for the first time in almost 2 years, I can breathe without it hurting. Thank you for carrying this with me, internet strangers. I needed you more than I can ever say. I don't think I'll post here again. This throwaway has done its job. Wherever you are, Mom, I hope you can hear me. I did it. I let you go. And I'm finally starting to live out loud. Hannah Bear, 32 plus 62 days, no longer waiting.